And the question, and this was asked on our YouTube channel, so I just wanted to say thank you, Gobile, for watching our YouTube channels, and I would urge the rest of our viewers to do the same as well. Gobile wants to know, how long does a buyer have to act on defects after they've bought a property? The question goes on further and says, well, how long do you have to communicate this information? I'm assuming when Gobile refers to information, they're referring to defects being brought to the seller's attention. Bruno?
There's no specified time frame, except obviously in terms of our laws of prescription. So I'll explain that a little bit more now. If a person becomes aware of a defect, it is at a certain period of time. From becoming aware of the defect, you would normally only have like 3 years in order to be able to claim something resulting from that defect. So be it damages or repairs or whatever the case is, right? So that's the only time frame that I'd really worry about when it comes to reporting defects. But what's interesting is from the date that you bought the property, if you only discover a defect in a year's time, that's perfectly fine. There's no issues with that. And as an example of a case that I dealt with when it came to that is in a sale and execution, the person bought the property, had no idea what was happening, what the condition was, sold the property at the beginning of winter, and only in summer when it started raining, the person who now bought it from him, my client, figure out that there were huge flooding problems and drainage problems, but our client didn't know. And then it starts becoming a question of, who has claims against who, but that's a completely different story. So when you're looking at it from a timing perspective, that's the typical rule. It has to be 3 years from coming to your knowledge. But once it comes to your knowledge, even if that's 1 year after you bought the property. And there are other timeframes that people might need to consider depending on the nature of the defects. I don't have the exact timeframes in mind. It's actually one of my colleagues at the office that works with this, but this is when you're dealing with like NHBRC and that sort of thing. So now this is a different conversation to have. If, for example, the seller is a property developer, you're looking at timeframes with respect to things like snag lists, and the contracts that you enter into normally have provisions on how to deal with snag lists. What this means is you bought the property from someone, you didn't buy it already built, so there's certain things that still needed to be done. You go into the property on day one, you need to start looking for these snags, and you need to make a list of them so the developer can come in and start repairing them. These time periods vary because it's normally a process of go in, make a list, send it, within a certain period of time, then we come in, we try to do repairs, then you can verify it. So there's different timeframes when it comes to that. It's a developer to developer. NHBRC, what that means for everyone out there is when people are building homes and the builder of the home is registered with the NHBRC, which is like a building council, there is certain coverage. So that's the benefit of actually using a proper builder and not what we call like a bucky builder. And so
I love it. It's a legal term.
Yeah, it is. But there are certain timeframes. Like I said, I don't have them, but for minor defects, if memory serves, something like 90 days, and major defects, I think you have about a year or something. So just be careful with that, because if you are going to claim against the builder, and remember, even if you've bought the property and it's a builder that built it beforehand, you still have a claim against them, that the person that built it, because of that insurance policy, irrespective of whether you have a claim against the seller or not.
Even against the bucky builder, but you're just not going to find them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
So that deposit that you paid is the reason why we use registered builders. Nee,
Yeah.
Bruno.
Absolutely.